Okay, in this video we're going to look at some of the features of the backup client agent service. This is a new service that can install on the backup client on the customer side, and it allows us to do some remote management of the client from the server without having to actually bother the end user and get them off their machine, do an open up a remote desktop connection or a GoToMeeting or something of that nature to log into the machine. A lot of the features of the backup client can actually be managed from the server side. So what I have set up here on the top half of the screen is what we can see from the server, and the bottom half is what appears on the actual client. On the top here, I've got a couple of PCs set up for testing purposes. At the very top here is my PC, and from the server side I can go into Edit, and you can see here that I can do a lot of the functionality. I can instigate a backup, I can start a restore, I can see all of the devices that happen to be on my machine down here at the bottom. I've got the BlueSky, my network, I've got a CD or a DVD drive, I've got a USB-D drive and a USB-I drive, and then my hard drive. Okay, and then I can also see the logs that would be on the client. When the client completes. So it gives us a lot of information. We can take a look at the logs from the client side and more accurately troubleshoot what a problem might be. In the past, in order to see the client logs, we'd have to log into the machine and see that there was a user ID and password that wasn't set correctly, or there was a problem with not having enough hard drive space, and we'd have to get the customer off their computer and take up valuable time interfering there, whereas now we can see all that information and without having to bother the client, and we can send them a detailed email on how to fix it, or we can go directly to the problem and resolve it. So it really helps us in troubleshooting and providing a higher level of service. What I'm going to do on mine here is to create a new job, and I'm going to call this let's call it Win 7. Again, this is all from the server. It's not really something you have to worry about as a user. I can use a populated set of policies or a pre-configured set of policies that I've got up here, or I can go in and create one that's specific to the client. And that's what I'm going to do in this example. This is going to go out and pull my desktop and see what data, what kind of things are actually on my machine. And I can drill down and see the documents and settings, temp files, etc. And I can, let's say, I'm going to back that file there up, that incorrectly spelled promise directory. My backup destination, these are all the devices that are on my machine, on my desktop, and you can see down here that they match up exactly with what I have on my backup client. I'm going to send that to the BlueSky Online. I'm going to click Next. I can go in and tell it that I want to use the open file. I can set up filters to include, exclude. I can eliminate hidden, read-only, or system files. I think I'm going to do that. I can select whether I want to enable the antivirus scanning. I can set up any kind of custom commands that I want. Perhaps I want to shut down my computer after it does a backup, or maybe I want to restart it. Maybe I want to do a disk defrag before it runs. I can enter in credentials, and I can set up notification. All of this, again, is happening from the server side. There's no interaction or no action needed by the actual client itself. On my client, I'm going to switch over to the Schedule tab so that you can see when the schedule gets created. Okay, I'm going to click Next, and here's where I'm going to create the schedule. Again, this is on the backup server. This is not on the client. It's going to send this configuration to the client, but I'm working all completely. The top half is on the server. I'm going to give this a specific time of 11 p.m. and I'm going to give it a date. My first run, the first time I want to run this job, I'm going to set it for something crazy. October, November, let's say December 7th, Pearl Harbor Day. And I want it to run every day after that, and that should be good. Okay, so the first one's going to run December 7th, 2011 at 11 p.m. and then it's going to set it for every day after that. Click on Finish, and you can see down here that on my actual desktop client, the Win7 job was created. Okay, click OK, and again, all that was done from the server. Right click, let's modify that schedule, and let's see when it's set. The first date to run is 12/7/2011 at 11 p.m. and it's set to run Monday through Friday. So everything that I put in to the server side was pushed down to the client. Keep in mind, a couple of things to keep in mind. This service is not enabled by default. This is a service that you have to enable either at startup or this is something you have to enable when you install the backup client software, or it's something that you have to enable in the client in the Windows Services applet on the actual desktop. So it's not something that we have access to by default. It's something that the client can choose to participate in or not. For network administrator types, unless you really have your network locked down for outbound traffic, unless you only allow outbound port 80, port 443, 25, things like that, if you really have it locked down, you're going to want to enable port 4502, I believe. You want to let that out. If you really don't have it locked down, if it's a plain Jane vanilla network with a basic firewall and basic firewall rules, you're not going to have to make any modifications at all. If you have any questions on that, please feel free to give us a call and we can discuss your specific needs. I hope you learned something from this video. Again, our goal is to provide an easier experience to get a backup and to be able to follow up and manage what's going on. If you have any questions, give us a call. Hope you learned something from this video.